You are now about to witness the strength of street knowledge.
What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? How y'all doing? Hey, everybody. It is your girl, your diva, acknowledged Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Ladies Lounge. Yes, you're seeing me live in the flesh. Hope all is doing well. If you have not already, please make sure that you subscribe. Join the family. We have a good time here. We are always chopping it up. So I know it's been a while since you ladies have seen me, and I'm always usually behind my avatar. So every so often I will try to upload in which we have an interpersonal dialogue, because I want to also be able to interact with you ladies from time to time instead of always being behind the avatar. So nevertheless, I appreciate it. Thank y'all for hanging out at the lounge. Make sure you hit that like button if you have not hit it already. I would gladly appreciate that. So y'all, shout out, let me say this, shout out to all of the queens on blogging. Everybody who's doing the darn thing, here for hot tea, caramel rail, I can't name all of everyone right now, but shout out to all the queens that are doing the darn thing and bloggings. Miss Download, shout out Miss Low Down. I said Miss Download, Miss Low Down, shout out to her as well, y'all. So big ups to all of the queens and blogging that are doing the darn thing, right? So I thought it was imperative that I talked about this, and there was no way I was not going to talk about this, right? So if y'all have not heard already, allegedly, Arionne air mattress has gone from a BMW to a Buick. Let me sip my cappuccino on that. Baby. The price that come with these married men, honey. Yes. So let me tell y'all this, right? So allegedly, word is in the streets that this is the reason why Arionne Air Mattress has not been going live, has not been posting, because the luxury of being a side chick has not been working out in her favor these past couple of months. And as we know, any of us who have been fans of Mel, who've been rocking with Mel, all of us who have been a part of this Love and Tragic in Huntsville hiatus, we all have witnessed from the very beginning how Arionne Air Mattress had really showed her true colors, how she taunted Mel, and of course Mayhem Martell, or Markdown Martell, has definitely been a major asset to Arionne Air Mattress disrespecting Melody, because Martell Mayhem, being the messy, feminine, emotional dude that he is, he used Arionne to help him do his dirty work. And nothing is more disrespectful than your significant other who is choosing to torment you, not only by violating the marriage and having an affair on you, but also using his side chick to help him finish off, the dirty work, using her as a weapon in order to try to torment you and destroy you. And this is what I truly believe. I believe Martell did everything that he did because he wanted Melody to go crazy. He wanted her to crash out because Martell knew how much Melody loved him and wanted to keep their marriage and their family together. And I believe a part of him, especially when Melody took the initiative to leave him, he wanted to unalive her mentally. He wanted Melody to be destroyed. He wanted her to fold. He wanted her to lose her mind. Now, if you listen, y'all get a chance. I don't know if y'all ever watched the movie, The Betty Broderick Story. If you haven't, check that out on Lifetime, all right? It's an old classic, but it speaks volumes to how far a man will go to destroy you in the midst of his wrongdoing. Betty Broderick experienced that, and what ended up happening to her was her husband left her to be with his mistress, who was a younger secretary that was working for him, because he basically got everything he needed out of Betty Broderick. And because of that, as Betty got older and he got older and he started making money, he started becoming successful, he decided he wanted to trade in Betty, being that she was getting older and, she was aging and life was lifing. He decided he wanted to trade her in for something younger, someone he felt was more sexually appealing. Damn all the time and the energy that Betty put into their kids and put into him. If had it not been for her, he would have not become a successful lawyer. He would have not been able to go to medical school and all of that. So basically Betty was with him. Matter of fact, let me show y'all. Let me just go ahead and show y'all right quick, right? And I'm getting ready to go into the situation, but I just want y'all ladies to kind of understand what happens when these men can no longer have their way with you. And they decide that I want to destroy you. I want to make you lose your goddamn mind. I want you to crash out so bad so you could come off as looking crazy, okay? So let me show y'all, right? And when you get a chance, check out the movie, Betty Broderick. It is on YouTube for free. And I personally believe that's what Martell was trying to do. I believe he wanted Melody to crash out. I strongly believe that way she could have lost her mind. He could have got the kids, got access to the money. It's not letting me just pull out one picture. So let me just show y'all the whole damn thing. All right. So, this is Betty Broderick right here, y'all. Okay. This was her when she was originally married to Dan. When they were young, she was beautiful, blonde, stunning. And basically, Dan was a square. He was a nobody. Nobody was checking for him, right? Nevertheless, he chased Betty. He ran her down, okay? And she ended up, falling for him, because he just kept chasing her, right? And of course, both of them was in college, young, full of life, and she decided she wanted to build a future with him, and she did that. So in the process of them building the future, Betty stayed home with the kids. She was a homemaker. She was doing Tupperware parties. She was doing all of this stuff, to try to support Dan and be there for Dan and all of that. So Dan went to school to become a lawyer and a doctor. So imagine being an at-home wife, having to hold it down. Keep in mind, the kids are steady coming, okay? While Dan is in school pursuing his career. So Betty is holding it down. And what ends up happening after all of those years of sacrificing and standing by him and being with him, now things are looking up, right? His career is going well. He's making money. So she's thinking, okay, now we have went through all that struggle. We can be together. We can watch our children have a beautiful life, now we can build this legacy, and to go from all of that, this ninja decides to leave Betty for his secretary, 𝓜𝓸𝓬𝓱𝓪'𝓼, okay? All right, so he decided to leave Betty to be with his young secretary, 𝓜𝓸𝓬𝓱𝓪'𝓼. Okay? So when he started making the money, he started getting funny, and he wanted himself a young tenderoni. Okay? So that is what he did, right? Now, this is after Betty stood by his raggedy ass while he went to law school and he went to medical school to become a doctor. And like I said, she sacrificed keeping the kids, throwing Tupperware parties. She was the one paying all of the bills, okay? While her husband at the time, was becoming successful. He decided to change that life and traded it and share it with the woman who ain't had a goddamn thing to do with his success. He did the Steve Harvey, y'all. Okay? He left a woman who stood by him and traded her in for Linda. Now, keep in mind, this is back in the 80s. Linda, she was like, 20, 22, some shit like that. I can't remember right. Anyway, she was younger than Betty. Put it that way. And when I say Dan did everything to make Linda lose her mind, Dan had a lot of pull in his city. Okay? He had a lot of pull in his city. All right? And because of that, no matter what Betty did, he was able to cock block it. Okay? If she caught the police, Dan had ties with the police. When she tried to get a good lawyer to represent her, the problem was Dan knew all the goddamn lawyers because he had just that much pull. So every angle that Betty tried to go, Danny blocked it. Danny had a lot of power. He was a man of a lot of prestige and power, to the point it got so bad, even Linda's friends, the upper socialites, because keep in mind, the married women in that time and era that was married to successful men, all of them had like a clique, to the point he even caused Linda to lose her upper echelon friends, because keep in mind, Dan was friends with a lot of Betty's friends' husbands. So when Dan decided to leave Betty to be with his younger tenderoni, guess what? All her friends left because they was like, hey, girl, we can't kick it with you like that because our husbands are friends with Dan. So therefore, we got to go along to get along. Back then, that's how these, like, Stepford wives did, right? She was outcasted. She was no longer a part of the clique. And it got so bad, like I said, he basically took her whole life, okay? When he got with Linda, he made sure Linda's former friends became friends with his new wife. It got really ugly to the point that Betty did end up losing her mind, okay? Because Danny had no remorse. He wanted to destroy her. Basically, his thing was, listen, yes, you did play a part in my life. I was trying to pay you off and give you some money, but this is the way Betty was. Ninja, I don't want your goddamn money. I want to spend the rest of my life with you because that was part of me supporting you and backing you up. And you're telling me you just rather pay me off, give me the house, give me the land while you move on with this new woman and rebuild another life. Betty was like, hell no, I'm not going for that. Dan basically was like, since you're not going to accept the deal that I'm giving you, yeah, you were right. You played a role in my success. You threw Tupperware parties. You sold Avon products. But I'm going to Steve Harvey your ass and be with this younger woman who became a secretary for his law firm. And in fact, he was so doggone disrespectful, y'all. Everybody in the law firm who knew Betty knew he was smashing Linda. But because Dan was the man and had so much power, nobody said nothing. They've been seeing Dan and Linda going to lunches, sneaking and creeping. And Betty, like any other woman, you go to your man's job to bring him some lunch and this and that, secretary and all them playing crazy, like they don't know what's going on. Oh, Dan's not here. He went to a meeting. He went this and went that. And the whole bottom line was everybody knew Dan was smashing this young female. And nobody said a word to Betty about it. In fact, it got so bad, some of the women who was working for Dan, they ended up leaving because what ended up happening was he gave this young tenderoni he created a position for her as a secretary and was paying her way more money, and she wasn't doing no secretary damn duties at all. She was giving up booty for her duty, okay? That's what she was doing. And the women in his law firm, they smelled that. Not only that, they didn't like the fact like, damn, you know what I mean? We know your wife, dude, and you is flaunting the fact that you smashing this young female and then you paying her more than you paying us. I'm out of here. If y'all watch the movie, it shows all of that, right? But anyway, let me get to the main point because I got to get to talking about this BMW and Buick that Arionne air mattress pushes. So anyway, Betty crashed out. Couldn't take it no more. Couldn't take the fact that Dan was getting away with so much bull crap. Nobody was coming to her defense. She couldn't get a lawyer. They was on Dan's side. She couldn't get the police. They was on Dan's side. Everybody was on Dan's side. Dan had a lot of pull. So she got to a breaking point in which she lost it. And she ended up unaliving Dan and Linda. In their house, in their bed. And she ended up having access to the household because her oldest daughter missed and left the key. And ironically, Dan told his daughter, do not leave that key anywhere, because at that time he kind of was fretful in a sense that Betty was probably going to do something. And see what it was? He wanted to drive Betty crazy, but not Betty crazy to the point in which he would lose his life and his wife would lose her life. But see, he underestimated Betty. But I say all that to say this, right? And this is the house where the unaliving took place at, y'all. This was Linda and Dan's home when originally it was Dan and Betty's household. But again, he did the Steve Harvey and decided to start his life with the Linda. And if you think about it, Linda looks a lot like Betty. She looks like a younger version, blonde, blue-eyed. Okay, but this was the scene where the unaliving actually happened. Betty came up in there, got a hold of her daughter's house key, and broke into the house, basically. Walked up the stairs, because remember, this used to be her house, so she know where everything is. Walked up there and pow, pow, both of them in they sleep. They didn't even see coming out with Dan. Dan was still halfway alive. Linda, I believe, got a shot in the dome. Dan was still kind of holding on, and Dan was trying to grab the phone. Dan, fell off the bed and was trying to grab the phone, which was there. And what ended up happening was she popped him one more time. So, unlike Linda, who passed instantly, Dan remembered in his last moments that the woman who he betrayed took his life. So he left here seeing her face. Okay? And these are some of the pictures, y'all, okay? I don't know if this is the actual picture, but yeah. But this is what these men would try to do to drive you crazy, right? So I just kind of wanted to share that with y'all. And I believe that is what Martell wanted. I believe Martell. And if y'all agree, definitely click a 1. If you disagree with that theory, click a 2. I believe Martell was trying to make Melody go crazy to the point Melody would lose her mind, crash out, end up in a mental institution. So therefore he could take the kids. Therefore he can take over Melody's assets, Melody property. Now, how successful would he have been? Not much successful. But at this point in time, I don't think Martell thought about the future. He was just determined to have his way by any means necessary. But when you know God, and God is on your side, he will give you the strength to be able to endure and able to sustain whatever tricks the enemy has in store. Okay? So, what I strongly believe, like I stated, he was trying to make, excuse me, y'all. I got to move this stuff out of the way. Okay, so I believe that's what he was trying to do. But it backfired and it went a totally different way. So let me start off with the scripture because we want to talk about this Jezebel spirit. Revelation chapter 2, verse 20. Nevertheless, I have this against you. You tolerate that woman Jezebel who calls herself a prophet. By her teaching, She misleads my servants into sexual immorality and the eating of food sacrificed to idols. So basically what this means, the spirit associated with Jezebel, which was a biblical figure known for manipulation, seduction, and leading people away from righteousness. The warning here is not only about a specific woman, but a type of behavior. Seducing people who are already committed, encouraging sexual immorality, manipulating situations for personal gain. So in modern times, many people refer to this type of behavior as a Jezebel spirit, which represents breaking moral boundaries, tempting people into betrayal, and destroying families and relationships for selfish benefit. And Arionne Air Mattress played a significant part in that. Okay, she is not a victim. She is a volunteer. She absolutely had no regards for participating and partaking in Jezebel activities with Martell, knowing Martell was married, knowing Martell already had a family. And nevertheless, like most side chicks, they are very relentless and they are very determined in overcoming and conquering another woman's husband, despite the curses that are to come with the choices that they make. Okay, because at that point in time, it's all about, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get what I want. I don't care if the other woman hurts behind it. I don't care if a family gets destroyed behind it. And you have women who have no compassion for another woman's pain, because at the end of the day, it's all about, I'm going to get this man by any means necessary. So the scripture warns that people who lead others into immoral behavior would eventually face consequences. Now, the whole part of this is Martell was the married man. He was the one that was supposed to honor and respect his vows. And because he chose not to, he brought a curse upon himself, and he brought a curse upon Arionne as well. So how long did they think this reunion, how long they thought this situationship was going to continue? How did they think they was going to get blessed in this chaos that they created? Only people who are mentally dysfunctional would be able to have some type of understanding with that. But for the most part, we knew it was only a matter of time. And we've seen this play out many of times. We've seen even Wendy Williams experience it with Kevin Hunter. Sharina Hudson, who also is not a victim but a volunteer, she did the same thing. One thing about these side women, they get these appetizers, these side chicks, they get very much beside themselves. And a lot of it has to do with the fact that these married men give them this sense of entitlement. They allow these married men to make them feel like them partaking in their immoral sexual behaviors. These married men make these side chicks feel honorable, like what they're doing is acceptable. And what tends to happen is these side chicks, they get beside themselves. They get bold. Side chicks used to hide themselves. Now they don't hide themselves anymore. Side chick, it was just that. You was the chick on the side. You were not to be seen. You were not to be heard. And Sharina Hudson, like Arionne, thought she was going to prosper, getting involved with Wendy Williams' husband. Now, say what you want to say. Wendy Williams was telling everybody else business. That's why her karma came back on her. Whatever the case was, Kevin Hunter had no right to disrespect his wife at that time, Wendy, and violate their vows and get involved with this other woman. Not only did he get involved with Sharina Hudson, but he had a child with Sharina Hudson. And when I tell you, her world crumbled. Everything that Helfer tried to do, everything she tried to build, it became an epic flop. She tried to create her, I think, a vegan cookbook. Nobody bought it. She tried to sell like cooking ware, like pots and pans. Nobody bought it. You cannot build off of another woman's tears. That's what a lot of these women do. A lot of these side chicks, they don't understand. You cannot build off of a foundation in which there was a violation that took place. You cannot build a foundation from a violation. You will not get blessed destroying another woman's nest. It does not work that way. Yet, they gain this delusional confidence, because what happens is with the side chick, they think once they got the husband, that automatically makes them think that they are in the right because the man chose to leave his wife or disrespect his marriage. And because of that, the side chick already feels that what she is doing is honorable because the man chose her. And that's the problem. A lot of women don't want to be valued. They want to be chosen. And that's dangerous when you rather be chosen instead of being valued. And that's what tends to happen to a lot of these side chicks. They are just chosen. They're not valued. And eventually, when you're not valued, being chosen eventually is not going to be enough. So this was well, let me go to this other part here too, right? This is the second scripture, and I'm going to go into talking about this BMW to Buick. Hebrews, chapter 13, verse 4. Marriage should be honored by all, and the marriage bed kept pure, for God will judge the adulterer and all the sexually immoral. Let me tell you something. No matter how much the world does not honor marriage, God does. The world is going to continue to change, but the word is going to remain the same. You could twist it how you want to. Well, he's not happy with her, or if he wanted to be there, he wouldn't be with me. It does not change the fact that the word still stands. In your mind, you can manipulate yourself and make yourself believe that there's nothing wrong with it. But sooner than later, you still going to have to reap what you sow. So what this scripture means is it emphasizes that marriage is sacred and should be respected by everyone, not just the husband and wife, but outsiders as well. So when these married men come to you with all this fracking bull, I'm not happy, we don't sleep in the same bed together, guess what? That does not give you the right to volunteer and sign up to deal with him and be with him, even if he's telling you he's not happy. He's not at peace. They're separated. It does not give you a pass. And it does not mean you are not going to reap the consequences for getting involved with these married men. Marriage is meant to be protected and honored. So listen, even if this married man does not respect his marriage, you better respect it. Because God is going to deal with you just based off of the mere fact that you done got involved with him. So keep in mind, if he's out there frolicking with other females, don't think God is not going to hold him accountable. But if you choose to join and be part of the side chick squad, keep in mind, God is going to hold you accountable for getting involved with him. The only way you're not going to be held accountable if you make the decision not to get involved with him and say, nah, bro, nah, you are somebody's husband. I don't want that curse in my life. I don't want God bringing nothing on me, getting involved with you. Okay. So marriage is to be protected and honored. So as an outsider, if a married man comes to you, you still have a due diligence, merely off the word of God, to not get involved. Adultery violates the covenant between two people. Don't become a part of that covenant. If a man is married, don't partake in any immoral activities or sexual behavior, because now what happens is you become responsible for intercepting in God's covenant. Covenant is God's anointing in a marriage. That's what it is. And anytime you start having sexual relations, you creeping with a married man, you going to the hotel with him, you smashing him in the back of a BMW, you smashing him at the Motel 6, what has happened is you have become a participant of that broken covenant. And God is going to hold you responsible for that. And trust indeed, he's definitely going to hold the husband responsible, first and foremost. But you are definitely allowed. Now you have signed. You have joined yourself to a curse that you had no business even getting involved in to begin with. God views adultery as serious because it destroys trust, families, and stability. The scripture also makes something very clear. Adultery is not only the responsibility of the married person. See, that's what a lot of side chicks ain't understanding. Well, he's the one that's not happy. He's the one that was started talking to me. He's the one that started dealing with me. Arionne preached that 1,000 times that Martell kept coming after her. But this is what women have to understand. In case you did not know, let me break it down and make it very clear to you. Anyone who knowingly participates in a relationship is contributing to the violation of that marriage. So you become part of the curse. Now, I'm not here to condemn anybody, but life has a way of teaching lessons. And one lesson women keep learning the hard way is what happens when you get involved with a married man. So let's talk about it. The streets have it that Arionne is pushing a Buick, y'all. She is pushing a Buick. Now, remember, originally, she was pushing a BMW that Martell was sponsoring with Melody's money. And again, this was because Arionne Air Mattress thought that Martell was the breadwinner. And that is the thing. These men will lie to you. You really don't know how their marriage is structured. It may look like he's the one that's making the money, but it doesn't mean he's actually the one making it, and it doesn't mean he's the one that's running the money. Arionne is finding out that the hard way, and that's why she's pushing a Buick instead of a BMW. Okay, allegedly she is a CNA, she's a part-time nurse, she's working, and I wouldn't be surprised if she is because we haven't seen her going live, popping her lips with lip gloss, with that discount ponytail. We have not seen her, because listen, they made it very obvious they are the type of couple, if things are going well, they're going to try to be seen. Now, keep in mind, even when things aren't going well, they're going to try to be seen. But in this instance, it's definitely gotten to a point where the struggle is in full effect. This is the reason why we have not been seeing Arionne Air Mattress and Martell. They are struggling, y'all. They're not doing no Chili's. They're not doing no Applebee's. We're talking about they doing that county jail food. We talk about ramen noodles. We're talking about cheese doodles. We're talking about Little W's honey buns. They are in the struggle. Okay? And let's face it, the way the economy is, all of us are in some type of struggle. I'm not even going to act like I don't have struggle, because I do. But the struggle is different when you get involved with a married man who you thought financially had his shit together, only to find out the whole time it was the wife running it. You cannot follow behind these married men. First of all, married men are liars. Just the fact that they're even getting involved with you, that already shows you his character. Okay, so what are the bullet points? This is the reality, and this is why Arionne went from a BMW to a Buick. Lifestyle is temporary. In the beginning, there may be gifts, luxury cars, and attention, but those benefits usually come from the resources that was meant for that household. So the reason Martell was able to provide this illusion of being well off and having all of this money was because the money he was using was really money that was coming from his household, which was Melody's account. And the thing about it is, when these men lose their wives, they lose their lifestyle. That is what happened to Kevin Hunter. That is why Kevin Hunter was trying to fight constantly. Kevin Hunter kept going back to court, trying to fight for Wendy's money, and the judge kept shutting it down. You know why? Because he was only able to provide that lifestyle of luxury through Wendy's money at that time. That is the reality of being a side chick, y'all. You may be dealing with a married man who's only able to produce to you because he is in a marriage with a woman that's helping him to produce that income that he's able to spend on you. But what's going to happen is when the wife or the missus finds out and she shuts down the camp, your lifestyle is going to change drastically. A lot of most married men are liars and manipulators. The money they spending on you is not money they making or earn. Martell was taking money that Melody was making and spending it on Arionne Air Mattress. And the whole time, this dumbass broad thought it was Martell's money that was making it happen. Just because a man is married, it does not mean he's the breadwinner. It does not mean he is the one that's making the money. You have a lot of women that are being the heads of the household. You have a lot of women who are actually business owners while the man is sitting on the side just chilling. Okay? And this is the reason why some of these married men are able to cheat and are able to mess around, because they're not contributing. They're not working. If Martell would have been on somebody's job just as much as he was on top of Arionne, he probably would have had just as much, if not more, than Melody. But he used his time and energy to bust nuts instead of busting his ass to get a job. And that's why he is where he is. And that is why he was trying to fight Melody like a dog. Listen, these married men, they get spoiled to the lives they have with their wives. They get spoiled to the luxury. But this is the problem. They want to have their cake and eat it too. They want to still have that life of luxury with the wife, but at the same time, they want to be able to come and go and have the luxury of being able to go back and forth, being able to go still partake in fuckboy shenanigans and still have the luxury of still being able to come home and be with their wives at the same time. Listen, these married men, they show the best versions of themselves in the beginning. This is the fancy dates, the expensive gifts, to go on to Ruth, Chris, and all of these out-of-town luxury, secret rendezvous, emotional promises about leaving his wife. This is the illusional phase. But what the side chick doesn't realize is that most of that lifestyle is built on another woman's foundation. That's exactly what that is. Arionne was getting the version of Martell that Melody built. That's what she was getting. What Martell gave her was the false image of what he pretended to be. He gave her a false perception of that, right? And most married men do. They give you this false presentation of what they want you to believe. When you're dealing with a married man, you're dealing with the version of him that is tied to his wife. The wife, in most cases, builds the man's stability. She has built his credit, his lifestyle, his home environment, and his reputation. Behind every good man is a good woman that built him to become that man. Now, this is not to say that a man within his own right does not build his own character and does not build his own wealth. But in many instances, note the side chicks, the man that you're dealing with the version that the wife has built. Okay? All right? The borrowed lifestyle. A lot of perks the side chicks receives are temporary access, not ownership. In many cases, the money is tied to the marriage. The money he's spending on you is tied to the marriage. And I pretty much said that earlier, that it's coming from the household. The assets were built during the marriage. Okay, so everything he is giving you, sharing with you, is from the foundation of his marriage. The stability came from the wife holding things together. This man is able to spend money on you because it's the wife that's keeping up with the finances. Okay? This man is dressing well around you because his wife is the one who is buying his clothes or being his fashion stylist. Some of these men come into the marriages raggedy, toe down. They didn't get their sense of style until they met their wife. Okay. Their wives play a part in how these men look, how they dress, and how they become successful. So when the affair becomes public or the marriage collapses, the lifestyle often collapses with it, because now Martell is not tied to that life that he had with Melody. So therefore now Martell cannot contribute that lifestyle to Arionne Air Mattress, okay? So Arionne going from the BMW to the Buick is the reality. This is why things shift when a man loses his wife, loses his marriage. Not because the side chick changed, but because the illusion expired. Okay, so these married men cannot contribute or produce a lifestyle that they used to produce because the wife is no longer there, being an asset to that. Okay. Many married men invest in the wife but entertain a side chick now. Meaning the wife, he creates the stability, the household, and shared responsibilities and legacy is usually where he is building his life with his wife. Side chick, on the other hand, the purpose of side chicks coming in is for an scapegoat. For ninjas to escape the reality of their responsibilities. With a side chick, you don't have to really be responsible for her. You have her for your own enjoyment and for your own entertainment purposes only. It boosts their ego. It creates a fantasy. And it's temporary excitement. It really boils down to a man, a lustful married man, wants to have his cake and eat it too. So while the side chick thinking it's about her, it has nothing to do with her. It has everything to do with him wanting to get his rocks off. It has everything to do with him wanting to get his ego boosted. It has nothing to do with trying to please the side chick and trying to create a life with her. He could care less. The curse isn't magic, it's consequences. When people say the side chick is cursed, it usually isn't supernatural. It's simply the consequences of participating in something destructive. What are the common outcomes? Financial instability. This man cannot keep up with that lifestyle anymore. The wife is not providing that life for him to be able to supply this falsehood of luxury that he never had to begin with, except had it not been for his wife. Public embarrassment. Now, the embarrassment of you going from a BMW to a Buick. That's why you're not, you know what I mean? You're not going live. You're not putting yourself out there. You're not bragging as much because you are feeling the funk of your lack of stability. You are feeling the reality of what's going on. Reputation damaged. Not too many people are going to take Arionne air mattress or Martell Mayhem serious. Anybody who deals with them is going to be for their own benefit. For the most part, nobody in Huntsville, Tragicsville, is going to take these two serious. Nobody's not going to want to do business with Martell or Arionne air mattress. Okay, now they'll always be able to work regular jobs. They'll be able to maintain some type of form of living. But for them to think that people are going to take them on board and build a business or build an empire with them, after all that public scrutiny, nobody's not taking that chance. You know, and people see you violate your wife, violate your marriage. It says something about your character and your integrity. And a lot of people don't want to be associated with men who move like that. Okay. And they definitely don't want to be associated with a side chick. Being blamed when a situation falls apart. Don't think for a second that Martell Mayhem is not giving Arionne air mattress hell behind closed doors. First of all, Martell has never been the type of dude to take accountability on anything. The worse his luck gets, the more he's going to take that frustration out on air mattress. Now, think about it. He did it with Melody. Everything was Melody's fault. And this was when they were on the up and up. This was when he was living in a household where Melody was making money, where he was enjoying the fruits of her labor. He still blamed Melody for the reason he was stepping out, saying that he wasn't satisfied or she works so much she's never around. So if he blamed a woman who was contributing, bringing money into the household, providing a lifestyle for him to be able to enjoy. If he blamed it on his wife, what the hell make y'all think he ain't sitting up there blaming Arionne for everything that ever went wrong? He is telling her it is her fault, even though he was the one who stepped out of the marriage. And Arionne, she's never going to tell it until it really gets totally bad to where she can't hold it. He's blaming her every single chance he gets. Don't think for a second, Martell is not going to take ownership for why his life is going the direction it went. If he blamed Melody, he's going to blame Arionne. He's already done it. Many side chicks end up realizing they were never the priority, just the secret. The pattern many side chicks experience. Females like Arionne end up realizing the man lies to both. She would never say it, but she sees it clear. And you know what makes her see it so clear? Because Melody is out the picture. When you remove yourself out of turmoil, eventually the snakes will start to devour themselves. Arionne would never tell it, but in her heart, she knows that Martell lied. And a couple of times when she was on bad terms with Martell, she said it. But then when she got back in good with Martell, she acted like she didn't say all of them things. She's realizing Martell is not able to produce any of the lies that he fed her. She's seeing it. She's seeing the struggle. She's seeing the real him. Because face it, when these men lose their wives, there's a new version of themselves that start to come out. Because the money ain't the same, the manipulation ain't the same, the foundation ain't the same. When these men lose their marriages, you see a different version. You see a new version of them. Okay? Arionne is seeing the broke, miserable version of Martell versus when Martell was married. She saw the happy-go-lucky version because he felt like he had it going on. I get to smash my side chick and I still get to go home and have a wife, a good life. So that was the better version of Martell when he was able to use Melody and still have the convenience of dealing with Arionne. That was his best version. I hate to say it. That was his best version. This new version, the broke down Martell, Air Mattress is seeing a whole nother version of him that she cannot stomach right now. The lifestyle was borrowed. It was a borrowed lifestyle. Arionne even admitted she liked Martell more when he was with Melody. Because she's seeing the broken version of Martell. Even she said that. Which goes to show, good thing Melody left, because Arionne was going to hang in there as long as Martell was still able to enjoy the fruits of Melody's labor. That way she could enjoy it too. So Melody leaving was the best thing she could have did, because between Martell and Arionne Air Mattress, those two bed bugs, they was going to hang in there and drain Melody all the way to the bank. Martell was not going to leave Melody, and Air Mattress was not going to leave Martell. So Melody did right. When she saw chaos, there was warning before destruction, she moved out the way. Because both of these leeches was going to try to bleed Melody dry. Melody said, when God told her to walk, she walked. The relationship was built off deception. Most of the time when married men get involved with side chicks, it's already a deceptive foundation. He's entering into your life with lies. He's lying, telling you he's not happy. He's lying, telling you he's going to leave. It's already built off of a fake foundation. And once the man's life starts falling apart, the side chick often inherits the chaos. And that's exactly what happened. She's getting the back end of all of Martell's losses. The lose them how you got them principle. Relationships that start with betrayal usually carry that same instability going forward. If a man cheats with you, he has already proven he is capable of cheating on you. In this case, Martell is probably too broke to even cheat. He probably don't have the money. If he's not cheating on Arionne, it's not because he doesn't want to. He can't afford to cheat. He don't have the money. So the side chick often becomes the next woman getting lied to. That's a major thing. Public embarrassment. These two have been such an embarrassment to each other from the very beginning all the way up until now. Affairs often look glamorous and private. You can enjoy an affair more where nobody knows about it, where you're not being scrutinized and nobody's not attacking you for it. But once everything becomes public, social media humiliation, everybody been dragging Arionne Air Mattress to the mud, including myself, and I'm proud of it. because they were so proud and arrogant and haughty. Martell wanted to put it out there, and so did Arionne. Okay, since y'all want to put it out there, we're going to put y'all out there. Community gossip. They have become the butt of jokes. Nobody respects the crash dummies. That's what I call them. Family conflict. 9 times out of 10, Arionne probably doesn't deal with her family. Martell and his mother's relationship is strained. It has caused a lot of conflict. Arionne lost custody of her daughter at one point in time. I don't know if she ever got the little girl back. It has been a humiliation ritual between the both of them. And this is the curse of getting involved with a married man. And this is the curse of a married man when he violates his vows. Children being affected. Okay, for the most part, Melody's children are handled gracefully because of the kind of mother they have. She prays for them. She has them covered. Little Helmet, Arionne, and Mayhem, Martell's son, little man, has some slight delay going on. Okay, not only that, as he get older, he's going to feel the effect because he's going to see that he has siblings over here that are living in luxury, have a big house, have a mommy who's providing for him, and he's not going to understand why I got my mama and I got my daddy, but we're struggling. I can't get the nice things that I see my siblings have. Why are my siblings doing better than I am doing? See, this is the catch that comes with getting involved with a married man having a child from him. If his first wife has kids that are well off, your child is going to feel some type of way because he can't understand why these other kids why my brothers and sisters, we share the same daddy, why they got so much and I don't. All of that comes into play. Reputation damage. Like I said, whenever people see Arionne, all they see is a walking Jezebel. No woman is going to want to be her friend. No woman is going to want to do business with her. Not people who know the situation. As far as Martell, men with real integrity, they see Martell as a disgrace. They're not going to want to associate with him. They're not going to want to deal with him. Okay? What once looked like a fairy tale relationship starts looking like a public mess. So, the real lesson is not about just shaming women. It's about understanding consequences. A relationship built off of deception, betrayal, secrecy, and dishonesty almost never produces peaceful or fruitful outcomes. Eventually, the truth surfaces. And many times, the woman who thought she won the man realizes she only inherited the problems the wife got tired of dealing with. So while you thought you took this man, what you did was you took this woman's problem. Martell been a problem for a long time. And Melody, like a lot of married women, was trying to hold it down, trying to hold it together. And Melody probably been tired of Martell more than she realized it. So what Arionne doesn't realize, she really did Melody a favor. She took the user and loser off of her hands, and now Melody has been flourishing. She has been prospering. She has been elevating. So sometimes, in many cases, when you take a woman's man that really wasn't a man to begin with, you actually take her problem. You actually take that fungus that was among us. You remove that dead weight off of her. And that's why she's been able to elevate. And Melody is still elevating. People are going to always come at Mel, and that's because people cannot understand her strength. Any other woman probably would be like, man, I would have folded. I would have crumbled. So many women, you have a lot of women that have so much animosity towards Melody because they cannot understand how everything she's going through, she still is rising. She still is elevating. Women, unfortunately, they gloat or they get some type of peace off of another woman's pain. And when they see, despite what you've gone through, and they see despite the weight that you carried, that you are still rising above it all, it really rubs, mean-spirited women, it rubs them the wrong way when a woman of God is still able to keep her composure, is still able to elevate, and still able, even with her pain, her shame, and her embarrassment, she is still taking the high road and handling it with such class and dignity. And a lot of women cannot understand that because in some form or another, all women have dealt with some type of brokenness. Okay, it has nothing to do with how educated you are. You got more degrees than a thermometer. Nevertheless, I think the reason why so many women have such animosity towards Melody, they despise her strength. They despise that. They despise that. Despite all the punches, that the woman still keeps it moving, and they can't understand that. Right now, some of you may have personal haters because people know what you've gone through, and they don't understand how you still moving, how you still making it. They thought you was gonna fold. They thought you was gonna crumble. Your enemies, your family, your husband's new chick, whatever the case, your ex-husband's new chick, or whatever the case is. People look for you to fold, and when you don't fold and you keep your integrity, it does rub people the wrong way, especially people who secretly wanted you to fail. It's very imperative that we understand the consequences of what happens when you choose to get involved with these married men. So I'm not surprised if she's pushing the Buick. How far did she think she was going to get with Martell? Okay, for one, Arionne, you are not Melody. You don't have her education. You don't have her wisdom. You don't have her knowledge. You don't have her determination. You don't have her ambitiousness. Everything. And you know what it is? Both of them faked each other because Arionne was trying to make Martell believe that she can be an asset to him like Melody was an asset to him. She tried to start that shitty trends boutique. Okay. That wasn't boutiquing. Okay. Her clothes ain't even had nothing on Shein, and I love Shein. I would get my clothes from Temu before I even attempted to even buy anything off online. Everything that Arionne has tried to do has been an epic fail. When you take part in another woman's broken heart, the fact that you think you can elevate and you can still prosper from that, it definitely shows there's a mental malfunction. The fact that you have some women who go to bed peacefully at night, knowing that they played a part in another woman's brokenness and another woman's unhappiness, rest assured, God already has it under control. You don't have to retaliate. You don't have to do a Betty Broderick and crash out. God already knows about it. He's going to do it accordingly. So the fact that she's going from a BMW to Buick, yes, that is called karma. And it's more to come. This is just the beginning. And if they think they can hide stuff from us, they're not going to be able to hide their struggles because it's going to come out. The same way they publicly humiliated Melody, their struggle is going to be produced in the public as well. They're not going to be able to hide it. They're not going to be able to keep it low key. Anyway, I give zero shits about her doing well. And I'm not even going to be funny about it and say I wish the best for them. No, I wish hell for them. I have no empathy, no sympathy for the crash dummies. Neither one of them had no remorse in what Melody went through. And I'm going to say this. Let me say something. Whether you like Melody or not, as a woman, just as a woman, put your hate aside. Understand how embarrassing that is when your husband, who you put on a pedestal, who you made your everything, makes a decision to get with another woman to embarrass the hell out of you, to where your kids have to experience it. Your kids done got affected by it. You know, friendships got tested and affected by it. Melody has gone through a lot. And the fact that you have so many women who despise her is bananas to me, because she is, I believe, a prime example of a woman who can carry herself with such dignity and grace, even with all the ugly challenges she had to face. She's been very, very graceful and very, very spiritual. But see, when you are a woman of God, you are going to be hated. You are going to have people that come for you. Because it's basically, once you and God start standing on business, that's when the enemy has to up the ante and get all kind of people the enemy has to start recruiting people to come to you to try to destroy you and take you down. And one thing about it, when God has a calling on your life and he has a blessing for you, there's nothing anybody can do to stop it. We don't even need to get mad about people who like male, who don't like male, people who support male, who don't support male. It has not stopped Melody from elevating. The hating has not stopped the elevating. Let me say that again. The hating has not stopped the elevating. She's still blessed. She's still prospering. So we don't have to get mad when people want to come for our girl and drag her through the mud. The proof is in the pudding, y'all. You can't stop blessings. Blessings are designed for who God has already assigned those blessings to. You get what I'm saying? So anyway, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this. Arionne going from a BMW to a Buick. Listen, side chicks, stop following up behind these married men. You're not going to grow. You're going to lose every time. You may win the man, but guess what? You're going to win a lot of problems that come with that man too. And you're going to lose in the end also. Anyway, y'all have a good one. It was nice chatting with y'all. Y'all take care. And I will be talking to y'all soon. And mind you, I am still working on my book as well, the Jezebel spell. So be on the lookout for that. And y'all have a blessed one. And I will talk to y'all soon. Please hit that like button before you exit. Bye.